In this reading, Sri Krishna tells us that true understanding is hidden, covered up by our misconceptions, by delusion. And how can we uncover it? Recently, there's many of these scientific experiments on meditators, and recently I came across one. And they took a group of people who had been meditating for a few months and also a group of people who were not meditating. And with each person, one by one, they'd take them into a pleasant, calm room, and they would put sensors on their skin to measure their heart rate, to measure their respiratory function, their skin temperature. And then without the person knowing it, someone would come behind the person, blow up a paper bag, and explode the paper bag. So the person sitting would hear this loud sound and, of course, be shocked. And with all of the non-meditators, all of their bodily rates went way up. And with the meditators, you'd think they'd be a little calmer. But all of their rates went way up, almost the same. But the difference is that afterwards, the meditators came back to being calm almost immediately. And the non-meditators held on to that tension. And that holding on to tension is stress. That holding on is what prevents us from uncovering our true selves. And we all have intense situations that are likely to happen to us, and we can't prevent them, but we can adjust what our response is. That paper bag is going to explode behind us, and we're all going to jump, but we can choose if we hold on to that tension, hold on to that shock, or we let it go. We don't have to stay jumpy. And how do we meet our tests? When things don't go according to plan? Well, we know that we have choices. We can choose the easiest way. We can blame somebody else. We can say, well, our marriage is just going terribly because you treat me so badly. And look, just this morning we missed our plane flight because you didn't call the taxi in time. And at the airport you walked too slowly. You always do these things to me. Or slightly better than blaming someone else is blaming ourselves. It was really my fault that we missed the flight. I didn't remind you to get the taxi earlier. And, I just do this all the time. I'm so irresponsible. I'm just a failure. And, of course, the solution is to blame no one for what happened. It just happened. And if it's over, it's gone. That was then, this is now, a new perfect moment. And why do bad things happen to good people? Well, they just happen. It's our karma. And when those bad things do happen, with meditation, with a positive outlook, we can bounce back more quickly. We may, after that paper bag explodes, we can ask ourselves, how quickly can we remember? How quickly can we remember to take a deep breath, to do Aham Sa, to open our meditation app, to pick up that spiritual book, how quickly can we get back to that calm, even state? Yoganandaji said that darkness can't be driven out with a stick, but when you turn on the light, darkness will vanish instantly, as if it never existed. And so we need to know where the light switch is, and we need to keep our hand close to it. And the best preparation is to continue to cultivate an inner life. And this covering of misconception, of delusion can be thick or thin, as Sri Krishna said here, according to which guna is uppermost within us at any given moment. And when we're feeling sattvic, just a puff of meditation or affirmation is enough to uplift us. And when we're buffeted left and right by restless thoughts or restless activities of Rajoguna, then we have to work a little bit harder. But if the tamasic elements within us are resisting to even think in a positive way, then, as Swamiji said, patience is the fastest way to God. That as long as we just keep making the effort steadfastly in the right direction, we'll come out right in the end. As Master said, a saint is a sinner who never gave up. Once I had a Nadi reading, and he talked about my future a little bit. And he, as you might expect, he would say that, this challenge or this kind of challenge would come to you at this time of your life. But through the grace of your guru, you'll overcome all of those challenges. And then he said that you would continue to help people spiritually, you would continue to help build ashrams, you would continue to serve your guru till the end of your life. And it's like that was all I needed to hear was that last statement. It just gave me whether it was true or not, it just gave me this deep sense of peace. And in that context, challenges that may come up or not just had no more importance. And so the message for us is to just keep doing all of the positive things that we're doing right now. As Sri Yukteswar said, making the right spiritual effort now, everything in the future will improve. And as Master said, perseverance will free you. Banat, banjai. Doing, and one day done. Thank you.
They couldn't find my leaf at the Nadi place. But on his leaf, it said your wife, and had actually my name there, and said she'll be with you to the end, giving you her good advice.
Yes, I omitted that part. With the grace of your guru and your wife's good advice.
So I didn't mind so much that they couldn't find my leaf. I knew I was going to go on to the end with the guru also, and just giving him good advice. I grew up with 2 brothers, and often, as siblings would do when we were young, we fought a lot. And we grew up, and I got onto the spiritual path. I was with Ananda, and I had grown mature in many, many ways, and grown more spiritual and less reactive, and had improved in many ways. And then one year, I'd been with Ananda 2 or 3 years maybe, we were on a family holiday and it was breakfast. And sure enough, old patterns of bickering came up between my younger brother and I. And whereas in the past I would have just reacted immediately, just put him down, I'm right, shut up. And I said, oh, look at this. I have this choice. I can see my wanting to react right now. And on the other hand, because I've become more aware with meditation, I was like, I have a choice. I can take the high road. I can be, quiet and just smile and say something, just, reconciling. And I just saw them right in front of me, both these two choices. And boom, I chose the downside. And I just nailed him with, some mean words and, something that almost made him cry. And I regretted it, of course, ever since. And so as Arjuna is asking Krishna, why do we do these wrong things? Why do we make these choices, even against our will? And it's because we forget who we are. It is this delusion that we're constantly trying to overcome. We've come from God, and, He put us into this flow, going out into manifestation, out into Maya, and we unwittingly and unknowingly have just continued in this flow outward and outward into the, the complexities of manifestation, to the infinite number of things we can get caught up in. And as we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, both of these flows have power. The flow that takes us outward further into delusion, or also, if we choose, to get back into the flow that takes us back to the divine, back to where we come from, remembering who we really are. And so really our path is so much about trying to blow the smoke away from that fire, trying to rub the rust off the mirror, or have the patience, as Keshava said, in the instances of tamoguna. We just have to wait it out. And when I was looking at the gunas this week in preparation for this talk, I was thinking, I definitely was in the Rajoguna category, and probably still am. And, Swami has said we live on a Rajasic planet. I mean, look at the energy, the activity, the movement, the consumerism, everything just wanting to grab from the outside. We just constantly want to go out and get our needs met. Our minds are so restless. And, the spiritual path has been, this meditation, Kriya Yoga, Ananda has been so incredibly good to just settle me down. I was really so restless. And meditation, Kriya Yoga, it allowed me to understand where is my center and how can I go back there every day and experience that that oneness, that centeredness and calmness. So restlessness through our practices brings us very much to calmness. And, just activities that don't mean anything, I was doing them all. And suddenly when I came to Ananda, it gave me a reason and things to do and to serve and to help other people and to do something meaningful with my life. All this energy that I had, I was able to funnel it into a positive direction. And then also I had a good job before anyway, a long time ago, I had a good job. I had lots of money. I was just constantly buying things for myself. And then slowly on the path, I just started to say, I want to use my money to help other people. I want to, maybe I'll quit my job that's making a lot of good money and just being able to help people understand how to be happy, how to find peace. And so, this pranayam was my religion, became my salvation. And, when I first came to the spiritual path, and many people first come to the spiritual path, we can be so enthusiastic. And, I think Swami has said, this light can burn very brightly, but it can either be like a straw fire that just burns very brightly but goes out quickly, or it can be a fire that's a slow burn and it continues to glow and glow. And as long as we keep feeding it with the things that we know will feed that fire of our devotion, like meditation, like seva, like being around other truth seekers, coming to satsang. And yet, even on the spiritual path, even in a path of meditation, we can be pulled back down by where we come from. You know, delusion raises its head again, like me and my brother, but just often it's like, no, I'm not a good meditator. I'm so restless. Everybody else must be meditating so much better. This may be not for me. Or, you know, I still have all these desires. I'm still tempted in all these ways. Or I made these big mistakes and I'm no good. And like Keshava was saying, it's so easy to just drag ourselves down like this. And that's just getting into that flow. And there's nothing that that river wants more than to take us down, you know, down that path. Like you are separate from God, and that delusion becomes stronger and stronger. And so the longer rhythm of life, like Keshava was saying with the affirmation with patience, it's like we have to be the long distance runner. We cannot sprint so much at the beginning and not be able to make it to the end. There's going to be hills, there's going to also be wonderful periods of downhill, but we have to look at the long distance goal and persevere to the end. And our attitude of self-acceptance is one of the ways that we are going to be able to make it to the end. You know, yes, I made this mistake, but I am not perfect yet. I'm like a half-done painting. I'm still making the strokes on the painting, and of course it's not perfect because I'm not done yet, or God's not done with me yet. And you know, He put us into this world for a reason. You know, we are here because we drew the experiences that we need to learn. And every time we get tested, yes, it hurts. And yes, you know, we wish it didn't come. And maybe it makes us so discouraged that we just want to quit. But Master said, don't quit. I mean, being on the spiritual path is so much about just not quitting. Keep going. You know, we just need to try to be peaceful or calm or, you know, have some energy. Just try to be one of these divine qualities. But know that we are just not done yet. You know, Arjuna asked Krishna, but what if I make all this effort and I'm on this spiritual path and I do everything you tell me and I still don't reach liberation? What does he say? No effort is ever wasted. Any level of consciousness and freedom from delusion that we achieve in this lifetime, it will carry us through. Even if we don't learn everything in this lifetime, we will be there in the next lifetime so much more ahead than if we had dropped out and have to do it all over again. And you know, Yogananda said there are no obstacles in life. There are only opportunities. And these tests and these opportunities come exactly where it hurts because we drew it, because this is where we need to grow stronger. And it's not like we have to become all powerful and all conquering. We just need to meet the test. If the test is this big, then we need to put out the energy to meet it. And if the test is this big, then we're going to have to put up this much energy to meet it. But had we not put out the energy, we wouldn't have grown. And that was exactly where, in that spot in our existence, in our life, that's exactly where we needed to learn to put out the energy. And that's where the blessing comes in. How many people have suffered so much and just say, it turned out to be where I learned the most. It turned out to be a blessing from God. We all know that Swami Kriyananda was thrown out of SRF. You know, obviously he was, you know, suffering much from this. Anandamoy Ma told him, take this as your guru's grace. He did not understand it at the time, of course, but later on we all understand it was the guru's grace. So, I mean, and then we have a much smaller tests than that. But we know that Yogananda said, if you persevere on the path till the end of your life, I or one of the gurus will be there to usher you over ourselves. And so the main phrase is, to the end. We want to persevere to the end. And then, you know, let's continue on the spiritual path. Let's do our teachings. Let's practice Kriya Yoga. Let's open our heart in devotion. Let's offer our lives to God and Guru, because this is the way that we find joy. Night and day in thy joy, O my Lord. Night and day in thy joy, O my Lord. God bless you.